They might just read this and go, yeah, she sounds like a Looney Tune. This is a very powerful call to action, actually. A lot of the chapters in here, the letters as she calls them, it's a light book in terms of weight, but it's a heavy book in terms of the meaning and the messages it's sending. I can actually feel the weight of it in my hands spiritually. It's like you're holding something special. Maybe get a day job if I can't do anything else. I mean, that is just a crazy way to live. And while that was in my mind a very noble thing to do for my family to get into the degree, I realized I just can't continue that way, because how am I going to teach my daughter to live her dreams when I can't live mine? Is just blowing every piece of conditioning out of the water, and I'm getting reconfirmation that even while I was in the best school in Singapore, when I would skip class to go play soccer, and I just felt so alive, and I was like, this is what life is about, running through the fields in the middle of the day in the sun, not sitting in some class going, why is 18 configured by trigonometry, blah, permutations and combinations? What does that got to do with anything? I just cannot, because once you've learned something, how can you unlearn it? Once you've seen something, how can you unsee it? So once you've realized it doesn't make sense, you can't be doing it anymore. Hey friends, welcome back. Thanks for being here. Today I'd like to review Rebecca Campbell's Letters to a Starseed, the one and only Rebecca Campbell. She made that deck we all really like called Work Your Light, and now she's written this book, Letters to a Starseed. I'm going to show you some B-roll, but I also wanted to show you how it looks like against the light. It's one of the most beautiful things I've seen. So I picked up this book on around 24th October 2024, which was my birthday last year. Today it's about 7th June 2025, and I'm about 60% through. I'm at this chapter called Remember, where she really starts talking about our soul missions and stuff. I'm going to do a little scan through for you guys later. The font is pretty easy reading, and really I thought this is one of those spiritual entertainment books that we usually pick up, or at least I call it that, where you're like breezing through and you're like, oh, how interesting, like Keepers of the Light, or I believe it was called Keepers of the Secret Garden, or The Secret Garden, or something by Dolores Cannon. But this one is pretty multidimensional and deep. I think the artwork was intentional this way, obviously. So it is very, very deep. And each chapter, she's kept the chapters small. So like a 2-page chapter, a 3-page chapter. At the start, I was wondering, why is it a 3-page chapter? But as I read, the depth in each chapter and each lesson and each sort of letter, because it is letters to a starseed, and in each letter, it's so deep that you could just sit down there in the grass, in nature, like I like to do, and meditate for a good 10 to 15 minutes and get answers if you want to. My first run through of the book is skimming through. It's a very nice soft copy book. It's been 6 or 7 months, but I've tried to keep it brand new, but that's just me. Hey, that's how I take care of my books. They have still followed that font, if you can see, that they use in the Work Your Light Oracle. The font is a little bit what I like to call round. It's not a very tall font. And it's easy reading. I believe it's like Poppins or something, the font. Let me just give you a preview of some of the chapters that I've read so far. So I'm just going to skim here. There were some exercises as well. But here's a chapter I've just fallen on, the Akashic Records. There is You Were Never Meant to Fit In. There is What a Time to Come. She's basically describing the current state on Earth in this book, where we're all at, how we're all feeling. We're probably feeling lonely, some of us, as we have like, oh, I have that weird friend too, over there, and I got like 18 of them, but I actually know about maybe 8,000 people on planet Earth. That's an example I'm giving you from my life, because I used to be from the media and entertainment space, and you can see those videos on my channel where I release music and so on. And I was actually heavily in the music scene in Singapore for a while. But then you slowly come out and you go, hang on, I can only hang out with spiritually awakened people now, because the conversations are just so different. It's like it's like heaven and earth. And then you have those like, oh yes, I have that friend and that friend. I can now count the friends I have on 10 fingers, that can have this kind of conversation with me. And I'm sure you're the same. Where I've just reached in this book actually today was this chapter called The Veil Has Been Lifted. But the one right before that, being a clear vessel in times of change, everything's like three pages. Starseed rolls, finding our ground, there you are. It comes at the right time. I just dropped out of a master's in counseling, and I'll explain more on in my other videos about why I did that. But she's really filling me up with encouragement about not following the current systems on earth, which I've been thinking in my head anyway. And then today I landed on the chapter. No surprise there. So what I like to do with these books is not always go cover to cover. Sometimes I do, but sometimes I don't. It's not fiction, and it's heavy sometimes. And so I just happen to open it up, through divine guidance at the right time when I need that next chapter, and then I continue the book. So I wanted to make this video very quickly because I'm feeling very strongly about this book. Before I even finish the whole book, to give you the full book review on it. But it is something, if you are here, like the rest of us, for this time of awakening, to awaken the planet, to awaken the species, and you're going, yeah, that's it. Like, I can't do any more day jobs. I can't fit into this thing anymore. And it's not like I'm one of those people who has not studied or not put in the effort or whatever. Like, I was a top student when I was young. And just to give you some reference for the overseas viewers, I went to the best school in Singapore, in the sense it's all based on merit. So you have to score the highest at this board exam at 6th grade, and then you go in there. Yeah, for those of you in Singapore, it was RI, Raffles Institution. Yeah, I got there by merit. And, so I did that. I did that stuff. But now I'm finding I just cannot, because once you've learned something, how can you unlearn it? Once you've seen something, how can you unsee it? Like, if you realize your family, just an example, is doing unkind things, let's say to animals, okay? How can you suddenly unsee that? You can't. So when you realize that the whole corporate system, or no, not the whole corporate system, but a lot of the ways that a lot of things are run is pure crap, or it's just things that people have not thought about, and once they think about it, they'll go like, oh my God, yeah, that doesn't make sense. So once you've realized it doesn't make sense, you can't be doing it anymore. Those are just facts, right? So for me, I realized I can't do the masters anymore. It wasn't making sense to me because I know through my work in spirituality, my client testimonials and so on, as validation, but of course you don't need the client testimonials. You can know on your own, what you're here to do. What I'm saying is through multiple various means and methods, like doing my own inner work, the testimonials, the paid work, the blah, blah, blah. I've realized what I'm here to do. And it's not to get a certificate from someone as a backup plan, which was my reason to get the certificate, to then go and maybe get a day job if I can't do anything else. That is just a crazy way to live. And while that was in my mind a very noble thing to do for my family to get into the degree, I realized I just can't continue that way, because how am I going to teach my daughter to live her dreams when I can't live mine? This is ridiculous. But I don't want to turn this video into why I quit my master's, but I just want to say that this book provided me a lot of encouragement and guidance, and she was speaking the exact language and the things I was thinking the last few days, where it made me feel like, yes, I'm not alone, I'm not crazy, and I was probably right to quit that master's. And you might be too, in doing certain things that you might be doing in your life, whether that is spiritual work and everyone around you in your family's like, this person's a weirdo, right? Or you're just going like, I just like hanging out with trees. I don't like hanging out at pubs. I like hanging out at trees, Or I just like to sit at a pub and read a storybook while other people are getting drunk and going, yeah, ha, ha, ha. It's like, it's a light book in terms of weight, but it's a heavy book in terms of the meaning and the messages it's sending. I can actually feel the weight of it in my hands spiritually. It's like you're holding something special, and I strongly urge everyone to get it. I also make content full-time. Just wanted to let you guys know. So the link to this book, if you can get it on Amazon, is in the comments. So if you get it from that link, I get some 8 cents per book you buy, or 0. If you want to get it from Amazon through my link, do that. I'm definitely going to put up another review once I'm done with the entire book. But I think that it is a whole book. It's called Letters to a Starseed. If I was to rewrite the title, I would have put the word exercises in somewhere there, because it is something you can just sit down and explore for minutes and hours at a time without just easily breezing through it. So it seems like you can breeze through it, and I thought I'll be done with it in a day because it's this thin. Altogether only 218 pages, but it's really not, because just the way she's put it is beautiful, and it's very deep. And she has the skill, or maybe it's the editor. I'm not sure what their process is at Hay House, but okay, let's just say the combined work of all of them. This is a very powerful call to action, actually. A lot of the chapters in here, the letters as she calls them, put into very simple, urgent, non-aggressive sounding words. So you read it like as though her voice is, I was just about to say the word divine, but it's like it's guiding you to do it. It's a very strong guidance. Like you, just like the things I mentioned, you can't see and unsee them. This book, you can't unread what you just read. And it is clear as day, although she's not like rallying a war cry or something. Well, it is kind of a war cry, that's what I'm trying to say, but in simpler words. Very gentle with the words and the verbiage, but oh, the messages are so powerful, so powerful. I've not been moved and grounded by a book like that before. I've been stunned, and other books have sparked my curiosity and imagination, especially the books of Dolores Cannon. And I love her work and her books. And those are a staple in my bookshelf right over there too. But this one, just like the art, it's like you're uncovering like this gem, this powerful gem thing. And you look into it and you're just transfixed and you're just like, wow. Especially if you come from a society like I have, like Asian society, not to generalize, but I think if you've been around reasonably around the planet, you know what I'm talking about. Or at least if you're from my generation, I'm 37 this year. So if you're a millennial, you know Asian parenting and not. So it's just blowing every piece of conditioning out of the water. And I'm getting reconfirmation that even while I was in the best school in Singapore, when I would skip class to go play soccer, and I just felt so alive. And I was like, this is what life is about, running through the fields in the middle of the day in the sun, not sitting in some class going, why is 18 configured by trigonometry, blah, permutations and combinations? What does that got to do with anything? I mean, unless you genuinely like maths, then good for you, or physics. This was something else. I would urge you to get this book and make it a staple in your bookshelf as well. It's going to be required reading in my family. I'm not sure the rest of them are ready to receive this yet. Although my wife also spiritually tuned in certain ways, but not the obvious ways. But like, for example, she's vegetarian and can't condone any cruelty to animals, you see. So in different ways. But I don't think they're ready to just read this cover to cover. They might just read this and go, yeah, she sounds like a Looney Tune. I mean, I can foresee some of them saying that. Just like when people read my quotes and my blog articles and stuff, they might go like, yeah, we used to know this guy. He was in the best school with us. Now he's a Looney Tune. Fine. So this is not for the non-spiritual folk, but for the spiritual folk. Please get this book and read it at least once, even if you borrow it from the library or whatever. All right. So that's my quick catch up and review of it so far. I'll make another video at the end of the book, a proper structured one. But being a multidimensional being and somebody who's sworn to live creatively, I tend to just live and talk like this about my feelings and my findings as I pursue on my seeking spiritual path very authentically and not really putting things into a structure and so on unless I need to. I hope you guys enjoy this book when you pick it up. And massive thanks and a shout out to Rebecca. I'll send this video to her and to Hay House as well. Fantastic, fantastic stuff. Thanks so much. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like. Please subscribe to this channel if you enjoy spiritual talk. I am a spiritual healer, guide. I offer psychic services, readings, whatever you may need. Also some live coaching and guidance mixed in if you need that stuff as well. Otherwise, we can keep it pure psychic 100%. I look into people's past lives through their faces. I do face readings. That's about it. Oh, and if you'd like to support this channel, please get the book via my link from Amazon. Take care and bye-bye.